making headlines in Rwanda and around the world. Members of the Parliament and the Senate have visited in Rwanda living in Impingazima, homes located in Bugesera, Huye, Nyanza and Rusizi districts as part of an ongoing initiative to support them during the commemoration period of the genocide against the Tutsi and to help them continue with rebuilding their lives. Guineans living in Rwanda are grateful for the opportunities they enjoy made possible by the strong diplomatic relationships between Rwanda and their home country. 50 years after the Soviet spacecraft took off to explore Venus, it has crashed back down on Earth. Again, many thanks for joining me. I'm William Evans, and here are the details. Members of Parliament and the Senate have visited in Rwanda living in Impingazima homes located in Bugesera, Huye, and Nyanza and Rusizi districts as part of an ongoing initiative to support them during the commemoration period of the genocide against the Tutsi and to help them continue rebuilding their lives. We do have a report on this. Members of the Parliament and the Senate visited in Rwanda living in Impingazima homes located in Bugesera, Huye, Nyanza and Rusizi districts.
We are so overjoyed. Our hearts are so grateful and overjoyed just that there is no way one can look at what is inside another person's heart, but we are happy. We are grateful for this visit. We thank members of the Parliament for visiting us. May the Lord continue blessing them.
We are so happy today. There was a time when we hid, but nowadays we are confident and bold. Such visits re-emphasize our boldness and our renewed confidence. The visit was part of an ongoing initiative to support them during the commemoration period of the genocide against the Tutsi and to help them continue rebuilding their lives. These mothers expressed deep gratitude to the government of Rwanda for restoring their dignity and purpose after the genocide against the Tutsi was stopped.
There are misleading things I usually see on phones. My message to young people is keep safe and fight the fight of love by responding to them who want to take us back to our dark past. But in responding, make informed responses and factual arguments.
Alice Kayumba-Wera, Executive Director in charge of National Unity and Community Resilience, highlighted that bringing these survivors together and caring for them has played a significant role in healing the wounds left by the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994.
On a day such as this, we remind ourselves of the life of these elders. We reflect on their journey of resilience, how they have overcome pain, cared for and raised a number of orphans left behind by the genocide against the Tutsi, and they parented all of this for the country. We thank you, mothers, for redefining Rwanda's image.
The Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Gertrude Kazarwa, commended their resilience, saying they serve as an inspiration to all Rwandans.
You went through terrible times. The things you saw left pain and scars on your hearts and bodies for some. But irrespective of all of this, you chose to continue the journey of healing and life. The fact that you carry with you love as demonstrated and shown to use through the warm welcome and the dances, you are setting a good example of resilience.
Currently, Rwanda is home to 234 elderly genocide survivors known as Intwaza, residing in Impingazima homes across Bugesera, Huye, Nyanza and Rusizi districts. Now, Guineans living in Rwanda are grateful for the opportunities they enjoy, made possible by the strong diplomatic relations between Rwanda and their nation. They say that this connection enables them to successfully implement their projects in both nations. Enora Gladys has more on this report.
Amadou Diogoba is a Guinean who has lived in Rwanda since 1998. He works as a tailor and currently collaborates with Rwandans, including some he personally trained.
I
have been living in Rwanda since 1998 and I work as a tailor. When we first arrived, Rwandans didn't really appreciate our style, but over time they began to like it, especially bubus and other traditional Western African clothes. They loved it so much that we began teaching them how to sew them. Personally, I've trained 12 Rwandans and currently I'm training 8 more. Rwandans learn quickly and they retain information well, and we work together smoothly. For example, I've worked with one person here for 25 years.
Adolphe Lua, who has lived in Rwanda for nearly 11 months, also shares his positive experience of living in the country.
First, let me thank His Excellency President Paul Kagame for welcoming Guineans to Rwanda. Guinea and Rwanda have enjoyed a long-standing friendship. On September 5th, 2021, under the leadership of His Excellency Mama Doumbouya, who is committed to strengthening Guinea's diplomacy and involving the Guinean diaspora in our country's development, we witnessed the opening of the Embassy of Guinea in Rwanda. This clearly reflects the President's vision. Today, as Guineans living in Rwanda, we feel at home. We are grateful for his cooperation, which symbolizes a new and meaningful friendship between two developing nations, Rwanda and Guinea.
Sori Sidibe, the first secretary in charge of consular affairs at the Embassy of Guinea in Rwanda, emphasizes that Guineans have much to learn from Rwandans.
Ce recensement démontre que le nombre de Guinéens vivants ou résidents au Rwanda.
The most important lesson Guineans can learn from this beautiful country, Rwanda, is the unity and resilience shown by Rwandans after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. Seeing how the country has developed in just 30 years, its economy and overall progress is truly inspiring. It shows us Guineans the strength and determination Rwanda has built. It also reminds us of the need to love and support one another.
Cette résilience que le Rwanda a développée ici, ça nous invoque tout simplement à s'aimer entre nous.
The strong relations between Guinea and Rwanda are valued by the citizens of both nations, promoting productive collaboration and mutual development. Last weekend, the President of Guinea, General Mamadi Doumbouya, made an official visit to Rwanda. He was warmly received by His Excellency President Paul Kagame, who accompanied him on a tour of a cattle ranch in Kibugabuga, Bugesera district. Guinea's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Marisanda Kuyate, stated that this visit aimed at further strengthening the good relations between the two countries.
Effectue actuellement une visite d'amitié et de fraternité.
This visit is about fostering brotherhood and friendship with Rwanda, two very important aspects. Our president has visited Rwanda on several occasions, but this time it was a special visit of fraternity. The relationship between our two countries has now reached another level, which strengthens our cooperation in economic, social and political fields.
Currently, the Guinean community in Rwanda is estimated around 700 individuals. According to the president of their community here in Rwanda, many of them are working across the both countries in professional activities. Enora Gladys, reporting for Rwanda Television.
Thank you, Enora Gladys. Now, BPR Bank Rwanda shareholders have agreed to allocate a general dividend of 50 Rwandan francs per share, and this decision was made during the bank's annual general meeting for the year 2025. We do have a report.
This marks the first time shareholders of this bank are receiving a general dividend since its inception as a cooperative and later transforming into a commercial bank. The 17th annual general meeting of BPR Bank Rwanda PLC approved the distribution of part of the 29 billion Rwandan francs net profit earned, with shareholders to receive dividends. They will be paid 13.7% of the profit, which amounts to 4 billion Rwandan francs, to be shared among all shareholders, as confirmed by the bank's CEO, Patience Mutesi.
Approval twasabye nuko bizakorwa mu gihe kitarenga.
We requested that the approval be granted before July 15th, as the process is set to begin soon. Once it starts, we will proceed immediately so that shareholders can begin receiving returns on their shares. All shareholders, including small or former members from the cooperative days, will benefit from these dividends. There is also an ongoing audit to assess the share price, and it is expected that its value will increase from the previous 1,000 Rwandan francs, as explained by the representative of minority shareholders, Pascal Nyiringango. This will create new value that exceeds the previous standard of 1,000, and everyone believes it will go beyond that. This highlights the importance of discussing the value of shares, regardless of when one joined the bank, whether in 2005 or 2007. The value was 1,000 for all. However, the current process will provide us with the updated statistics and a new valuation. The chairman of the board, George Rubagumya, emphasized that all former shareholders of the bank should be included in this dividend distribution. There are individuals who have lost the small record books we used to use, others whose parents were shareholders but have since passed away, and some who now live abroad. All of these categories are entitled to receive their shares. In the case of deceased shareholders, their children, grandchildren, or other relatives have the legal right to inherit their shares, as the law provides for the transfer of assets upon death. If you have lost any relevant documents, please report the issue to the nearest branch of the bank. The BPR Bank, Rwanda, reports that over 58% of shareholders have not yet registered. According to the bank's data, out of more than 576,000 shareholders, only 238,000, which equals 41.5%, have registered. To address this, a new digital system has been introduced to help shareholders check their shareholding by dialing 667 and entering their phone number.
And now, the chairman of the Democratic Green Party, Dr. Frank Habineza, has expressed that what the Belgian government did in pushing for Rwanda to face sanctions from foreign countries was inappropriate and should be stopped. He made these remarks during the two-day political bureau meeting and training for the members of the Green Party to be trained about good governance and how to uplift themselves from poverty.
Rwanda took a right decision to cut diplomatic ties with Belgium, because there had been consistent efforts by the state of Belgium to sabotage some efforts of Rwanda, but also to ask other countries in the international community to take sanctions on Rwanda. So this was done openly, and it was intended to hurt the Republic of Rwanda, of course, the citizens of Rwanda. So by Rwanda cutting diplomatic ties, I think it was a clear signal that that should stop. Condemn what Belgium was doing. It was a very wrong thing for Belgium to do that. We think that Belgium should have engaged more in peaceful means of conflict resolutions, having more dialogue with Rwanda, but also looking at the root causes of the problem. Because by just asking other countries to take off donations from Rwanda, it was not a solution. Because if you cut off donations, and they've done this before, the donations were removed, were cut off from Rwanda, but the problems were not solved. So it's important that Belgium should have looked at the root causes of this problem and find solutions to that problems. So, and this we still ask all countries working with Rwanda to deal with the root causes of the problems, but also ensure that these issues should be solved in peaceful means, because we don't believe in war or fighting. We only believe that in peace talks, and because we as a party we stand on the principle of non-violence. Today's political bureau meeting had two main objectives. One was to reappoint party commissioners and commission members. We have 12 commissions, and each commission is composed of 7 members. So we have done that. They have been reappointed and or appointed and approved by the political bureau meeting. Part of the training will be to ensure that these commissioners or commission members get ideas from the people on the ground, and these ideas be developed into policy briefs or policy papers, which would be used by our members of parliament in parliament to give party ideas. areas, but also in the government institutions, because we need to have our policy papers on different issues happening in the country, and we are also going to be publishing these issues. So we have training on party ideology. Of course, the members need to know more about the ideology of the party. This we do it all the time, but we need to do it also all the time because people need to be reminded what we stand for, and also we shall have other trainings going on sustainable livelihoods, how to make projects that can benefit the youth, the women, to uplift themselves from poverty. As you know, the party has started up, we've given money to 10 districts in the whole country, sustainable livelihood projects like on Pigale, in Nyamasheke, in Ruhango, in Rwamagana, also on chicken rearing in Gatsibo, in Huye, Musanze, and so on. So we're done different projects. These are also aimed at uplifting party members, especially the youth and women, from poverty. So this will be a specific training to show them that even if you don't have enough money, even if you have 100,000 francs, you can do something that can help you to, because the party will not have money to give everybody, but sometimes people think when they have too much, small money or little money, that it's not enough, but we want to show them that even 100,000 francs or even 50,000 francs can do something. So the training is still going, but the specific training we are going to do even tomorrow will be on communication, how to communicate these ideas, how to get ideas from the people, how to revise our communication strategy, how can we do better communication that can help the party but also help the country of Rwanda.
Dr. Frank Habineza, chairperson of the Democratic Green Party. Now, to more news, residents of the Western Province report that land consolidation and growing selected crops have tripled the yield per hectare. Some cooperatives in Karongi district in the Western Province have transformed its agriculture practices by adopting this method. They state that their yield has tripled due to professional farming methods. Farming on small plots of land using greenhouses has also helped residents of the Western Province increase their productivity, even with the limited land. The governor of the Western Province, Jean Bosco Ntibitura, says that these land consolidation programs are part of the efforts to help citizens achieve food security and generate surplus produce, which is also aimed at combating poverty, an issue that was revealed in the 7th Integrated Household Living Conditions Survey.
umushinga n'ubundi ugamije kongera umusaruro w'ubuhinzi no kwihaza.
This project aims to increase agricultural productivity and ensure food security, with a particular focus on improving nutrition in families. It has already delivered significant benefits and is one of the key initiatives that has helped us combat stunting and malnutrition.
Now, moving on, residents of Nyagatare district say that they are pleased that in this area, traditionally known for agriculture and livestock, is now also seeking to grow in the hospitality sector. Even though currently it only has 2 hotels, the Nyagatare district administration says infrastructure is being developed to attract investment. According to the most recent census conducted in 2022, Nyagatare district has a population of 653,861 people, while the majority of these residents depend on agriculture and livestock for their livelihoods. Those living in the urban areas of Nyagatare appreciate the progress being made in the development of their own town, since Nyagatare is among the secondary cities that support Kigali. Residents are also pleased that the district currently has 2 hotels that can provide essential services expected of proper hotels, which they see as a significant step forward. Though there are only 2 main hotels in the town, there are also several motels throughout the area that help support the hospitality sector. However, the hotel owners are expected to improve their standards and increase capacity. Matsiko Gonzaga, the vice mayor in charge of economic development in Nyagatare district, said that the local government is committed to expanding infrastructure to attract more investors, particularly in the hotels sector. The district's master plan, approved by the Nyagatare District Council in 2023, indicates that beyond improving agriculture and livestock and also housing, there will be a strong focus on boosting tourism, and this will go hand in hand with the increasing number of hotels in the area. And now the Ministry of Education is calling on authors who write about the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi the Ministry of Education is calling on authors who write about the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda to also produce materials that can help young people understand the history of genocide. This comes as French author Daniel Lescron has just released a new book explaining the history of the history of the genocide against the Tutsi in Rwanda. Titled Understanding the Planning of Genocide, the book is written for young Rwandans and international readers. His goal is to explain in simple and clear language how the genocide against the Tutsi was planned and how it was ultimately stopped by largely youths.
Et il m'a semblé très important de poser un problème sur le problème de la transmission.
I found it important to reflect on how we transmit the history of the genocide against the Tutsi, because this genocide taught us many lessons that the world had not fully understood about how genocide was planned. This book is not only intended to teach young people about the dark history of the genocide planning, it also aims to encourage them to understand themselves and the history of what happened in this country. It reminds them of the suffering many endured, suffering that still haunts survivors today. The book will help them draw lessons to build their own future and the future of the world, while gaining the knowledge needed to prevent genocide from happening anywhere else.
The Ministry of Education says that although the history of the genocide against the Tutsi has been incorporated into Rwanda's national school curriculum, there is still need for more written materials to help young people better understand the history. Dr. Nelson Barushimana, Director General of the Rwanda Basic Education Board, emphasized this point.
This message is incorporated into the national curriculum, ensuring that by the time a student completes high school, they understand what the genocide against the Tutsi was, its causes, and how it can be prevented. We encourage authors to write in a clear and accessible way, explaining the origins of the genocide, how it was stopped, and what actions must be taken to ensure it never happens again, reinforcing the message of never again to genocide.
In addition to this book, Daniel Lescron has also written 2 other books released related to the history of the genocide against the Tutsi, one co-authored with Charles Habonimana and the other which focuses on the resilience of widows who survived the genocide against the Tutsi.
wa sosiyete turakwibutsa ko buri sosiyete isabwa n'itegeko kubika ibitabo bya sosiyete ndetse no gushyikiriza RDB amakuru abikubiyemo. Ibyo bitabo birimo igitabo cy'abanyamigabane, icy'abagenewe inyungu ku migabane, inyandiko y'amakuru ya sosiyete, ibaruramari ngarukamwaka n'izindi. Gutanga amakuru y'ugenewe inyungu ku migabane wanyura kuri bo.rdb.rw, naho gutanga izindi nyandiko ukanyura kuri org.rdb.rw.
Nyiri muto arababwiraga data bati ntabwo wagira umukamo mwinshi utunze imwe, ariko nigeze acika intege. Mama akinjira mu bucuruzi harabamubwiraga bati ntabwo watera imbere udakorera mu iduka rigezweho, ariko ntibyamusubije inyuma, yakoranaga umwete. Njya muri kaminuza harabanshidikanyagaho bavuga ko nashobora kaminuza naturuka mu muryango wifashije, ariko byaragiye nanditse amateka mashya. Igihe cyo gutera ishema umuryango wanjye kigeze, bamwe bakomeje kumbwira bati ntabwo watera umuryango wawe ibyishimo n'ishema, ariko narabishoboye. Hari abakekaga ko nasigira umurage ukomeye abankomokaho, ariko ubu mfite uruganda rutunganya amata. Banki ya Kigali yabaye umufatanyabikorwa wanjye mu rugendo rwose, inzozi zanjye ziba impamo. Bigereho.
RTV news continues on the international scene. 50 years after Soviet airspace took off to explore Venus, it has crashed back down on Earth. It's a rare event that is being tracked by amateur astronomers. Al Jazeera has the details.
It was built to land on the least habitable planet in our solar system. Instead, it's been falling back to Earth for over 50 years. Probe 671 was one of nearly 30 missions the Soviet Union sent to explore Venus. It launched in 1972 during the heyday of space exploration.
It got as far as orbiting the Earth in a low parking orbit, and the upper stage fired to send it out into orbit towards Venus. And halfway through that rocket burn, the rocket sputtered out.
It was relabeled Cosmos 482, a ball of forgotten space junk. But not to all. Government space agencies and a growing group of hobby astronomers have been watching it and trying to prove its unique origin story ever since.
Really what's changed is that amateurs have much better capabilities now that sort of rival what the governments used to be able to do. And so we can get independent public information on what's going on.
65 years into the space age, those Russian missions to Venus remain the only ones that ever reached the planet's surface. They sent back photographs and even the sound of its hot, toxic wind. Scientists say it's time to go back. Europe and China will launch Venus probes within the next 5 years. The U.S. space agency NASA will too, if threats of budget cuts don't halt the project. But surprisingly, if all goes well, a private company called Rocket Labs will get there first, as soon as next year. Venus holds clues to life back on Earth. Our two worlds are similar, but runaway climate change ravaged our neighbor long ago. And though the claims have been challenged, some astronomers saw traces of gases in its poisonous atmosphere that they say could be produced by simple life forms.
We're trying to revisit the cloud particles. Far above the scorching surface, way above, at 50 kilometers above the surface, it's actually the right temperature for life. And at that altitude, there are clouds, lots of thick clouds that are always there, permanently covering the entire planet. And those clouds are made of liquid droplets. And so that's what we think is very interesting.
A crash landing of a time capsule from one age of discovery at the horizon of another. Colin Baker, Al Jazeera.
Now, it's Mother's Eve in Mexico, but for those whose children are missing, it's no celebration. Instead, they are holding vigil to demand the government to take more action to find their relatives. It is reported that more than 100,000 people have disappeared during the country's drug war. But in the absence of a state plan to look for them, people are putting their lives at risk to search for their loved ones. We do have a report.
On the eve of Mother's Day, a prayer for missing sons and daughters. Across Mexico, this is how thousands of mothers are spending their day, pleading for help in finding their children.
Every day we wake up hoping to find out what happened, wondering, is he hungry? Is he cold? Sometimes you feel that he's no longer here, and maybe that's for the best, so he's not suffering.
Over 100,000 people are missing in Mexico, victims of a brutal drug war that claims tens of thousands of lives every year. Here, it's the relatives of the disappeared that must take on the task of searching for them. Local governments are underfunded, overwhelmed, and often in collusion with organized crime. Increasingly, the mothers who are searching have become targets too. Last month, 2 volunteer searchers from the state of Jalisco were killed, presumably for their work looking for their children and exposing drug cartel crimes. At least a dozen searchers have been killed in recent years.
Relatives hope that Mexico's new president, Claudia Sheinbaum, a woman and a mother herself, would further their cause. But so far, they say her government has shown the same indifference as previous administrations.
Nothing has changed for us. Things are the same or worse. She hasn't helped us.
For most of these mothers, this is the closest thing they'll have to a Mother's Day celebration. A painful reminder of just how much they've lost to Mexico's cartel violence. Julia Galliano, Al Jazeera, Mexico City.
And that report brings us to the end of tonight's edition, but before we go, let's have a look at the headlines one more time. Members of Parliament and the Senate have visited Inhwaza living in Imhinganzima homes located in Bugesera, Huye, Nyanza and Rusizi districts as part of an ongoing initiative to support them during the commemoration period of the genocide against the Tutsi and help them continue rebuilding their lives. Guineans living in Rwanda are grateful for the opportunity they enjoy, made possible by the strong diplomatic relations between Rwanda and their country. On the international scene, 50 years after Soviet spacecraft took off to explore Venus, it has crashed back down to Earth. That was it for News Tonight. I'm William Evans. See you tomorrow, same time and same place. Good night.